One mic, one voice. You can work your choice. One mic, one voice. You can change the world, your choice. One mic, one voice. You can change the world, your choice. One mic, one voice.
Welcome to the One Mic, One Voice show, building the collective conscious, a show that is created to give space where your voice, ideas, and informed opinions can be heard, appreciated, and debated. I am Michael Eric Owens, and I'm solo again, folks. DT is traveling around the world. It's the holiday weekend. You can't blame him, man. The weather is fantastic, and he's probably on the beach somewhere with a pina colada, sitting back, relaxing. But he will be missed today, but I'm going to try to attempt to hold it down. Our title is The Citizen. The Citizen. Think about that and all of the challenges that we are facing nowadays. It is, that's at the essence of the question of who is the real American, the citizen. It's always been really a quintessential question about American identity is who belongs here and who doesn't, who has the right to privilege and who does not, the citizen. And this episode comes with the backdrop of what's happening in the NFL. And some people might say, well, how important is what's happening in the NFL to the culture and the impact that it has on the culture and how we look at the citizen? This year's revenue for the NFL will be somewhere in the network of $14 billion. It means that the league still remains the most lucrative business in the world. And the commissioner, Roger Goodell, he wants even more. He stated that he wants to reach 25 billion in revenue for the league by 2027. $14 billion. The citizen. Are we citizens? I'm talking mainly about minority folk. Are we afforded the same rights and privileges as the dominant culture? Now, a citizen is a native or something person that has been naturalized in you weren't a citizen and you became a citizen. Member of the state or nation who owes allegiance to its government and is entitled to its protection. Someone that is distinguished from the government, a nationalized citizen. There we go. The amendment, which is the 14th Amendment, addresses citizenship and equal rights and protection of the law, and was proposed in response to issues related to former slaves following the Civil War. So, this idea of citizenship was in direct response to the status of former slaves. Yes, this is very relative to the day as it was to yesterday. All persons born or nationalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person, and this is where we get this famous statement of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, nor denied to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. Let me go back to my original question. Are we all citizens? We've been born, nationalized in this country. Are you a citizen? Are you afforded the same rights? Right? And we know the protest that's going on. Everyone has basically weighed in, from the layman to the President of the United States. And somehow, the protection of citizenship is not afforded to those who exercise, and I get this, who exercise free speech, freedom of expression, which are protected by the Constitution. You have the right to voice or not voice your opinion. Now, what's closely associated with this argument is the American flag. Man, we're going to get into the flag today. We're going to get deep into the American flag today. Some of you seem to think that, you have more outrage about players kneeling for a flag than our children being slaughtered in the schools. You show more contempt for those kneeling than you do for those wanting to purchase firearms in this country. You will yell that your Second Amendment right must not be infringed on. But guess what? Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, because you disagree with it, you call it disrespectful. Now, respect is a strange word, because if you ask 10 people their definition of what is respectful or what is respect to them, you're probably going to get 10 different definitions. It's extremely subjective, right? But it appears in our country that when individuals do things we don't like, what we want to do is to suppress them, suppress their speech, suppress their gathering, suppress their opportunity. Matter of fact, this has happened throughout the history of our country. But what you fail to remember, or maybe I should bring this to your attention again, the idea of protests. The protest can be in your face. It can be marching. It can be yelling. Sometimes it can be destructive. But sometimes, folks, get this, it can be silent. You can simply sit at a lunch counter and protest. You can simply stand up, hold your fist up high, and protest. Or you can simply get down on one knee and protest. You don't like it when it's violent, but how can you not respect a silent protest? Well, it's been happening throughout history. What happened to those that the Little Rock Nine who tried to walk into their school quietly? What happened to at Cat's drugstore here in Oklahoma City when they tried to sit down at the counter? Throughout the South, what happened? What happened when they walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, linked arms and singing, "We shall overcome"? Yeah. The same thing happened. People didn't like it. People said it was wrong. You shouldn't do that. You don't have the right to do that. Well, folks, we're going to get into that. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. And we're going to get into this flag thing because I think many out there are not even listening to the argument, not listening to um, the truth behind why these players are speaking out. Folks, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Oklahoma Humanities Brainbox podcast uses the humanities to take listeners on a deep dive into the issues affecting American society and culture. Join some of Oklahoma's most interesting and knowledgeable humanities scholars to explore how history, literature, ethics, philosophy, and other humanities fields inform our understanding of current events and the human experience. And to find the Brainbox podcast, simply search Brainbox Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Google Play, and any other podcasting library. If you have any ideas or comments rattling around in your noggin, email us at brainbox@okhumanities.org.
This is Dr. Laura Gillette, and when I listen to podcasts, I always listen to the One Mic, One Voice show.
Welcome back, folks. I'm alone, but I'm not really alone. Richard's here with me. I'm in the studio, man. I'm excited. We're talking about the citizen. D out there listening. Sit on the beach with his pina colada, with his headphones on. He's listening. Folks, the flag is symbolic of the status and these rights I just spoke about. If you were born, naturalized in the United States, you have, or you should have, all the protections of anyone else. You must not be deprived of any of these rights and the ability to live a life of quality, substance, protection, just like anybody else. A little history here. The flag, and you can look it up, it's available. Just Google it. But the flag was adopted first in June 14th, which is Flag Day we celebrate every year. 1777, it had 13 stars, of course, representing the 13 colonies. And matter of fact, if you go to our website, as well as if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the images coming up. We have a T-shirt coming out here. It's a pretty nice T-shirt too, I might add, which we're very excited about. On the front it says, "I am a citizen." On the back it has the 14th Amendment. And you can purchase yours. We're going to put a link up and you can support the show. July 4th, 1960, we moved to what we have today, the 50 flags. Of course, Hawaii came in 1959. So what does this flag represent? Well, Congress had a little say-so in this. And Charles Thompson, at that time, the Secretary of the Continental Congress, said the colors of the pales, the vertical stripes, are those used in the flag of the United States of America. White signifies purity and innocence. Now, I want you to really focus in on the description here. Red, hardiness and valor. Blue, the color of the chief. The blue band and above the stripes signify vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Justice. So the flag itself is a symbol of justice, purity, and innocence. Maybe the flag is pure, but is America pure and innocent? From slavery to, Japanese internment camps, to what they did to the native peoples, the Trail of Tears, the convict leasing, Jim Crowism, mass incarceration, pure and innocent. Valor, yeah, I think we can do that. But I want to focus in on the representation of justice. Justice. When you canvass the history of this country, there have been individuals who fought for this flag when they came from abroad, could not even drink in the same water fountain as white people. Could not. Were forbid from getting in the front of the bus. Yet they died. They showed valor. Justice. This is what this flag represents. The star, the symbol of the heavens, and the divine goal to which man has aspired from time. Listen, folks. Listen. Justice. So, from an early age, we are taught to embrace the flag. Every child that comes along in this country will sooner or later be introduced to the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance. Now, we said, and the flag stands for a couple of things, but we're going to focus in on justice. If you're out there, I want to hear your comments. The Pledge of Allegiance, let me just state it for you. I pledge allegiance, which is loyalty, to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God was added in the 50s, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Freedom and justice for all, not for some, not because I agree with what they're doing, not because of the status that they may have in this country. That means the President of the United States does not get more justice than the person on the street. Liberty and justice for all. Okay. This idea of unity. The flag is supposed to unite all Americans. Unite. It stands as a symbol of unification, of our connectedness, of our shared value and our shared vision. How shameful it is in 2018 to look at our country today and see how divided we are. You say disrespecting the flag, Mr. President? Disrespecting the flag, Mr. President. Huh? disrespecting the flag. When you attack every ethnic group in this country, when you attack Muslim citizens, Black citizens, Latino citizens, you are at the heart of that division. You're at the heart of it. Oh, D piped in. Purity and innocence. Is there an alternate definition of those words we don't know about? Yeah, there must be. There must be in the minds of folks that seem to not understand that the same privileges you have are the same ones I have. And you can't take mine away, although you're trying. Although in Trayvon Martin's case, you were successful. Michael Brown's case, you were victorious. And the list goes on and on. This idea of justice is something that is embedded in the very nature of being a citizen. The idea that if I am wrong, there is a system of justice for me. The very fact that I have these rights and privileges to kneel, to speak, to put my fist up, to protest, I have the right to do that because I'm a citizen. Is there anything true about this loyalty? Now, see, this is the way I look at it. I think citizenship is contractual, meaning I had to be born here or naturalized here, right? So by birth, there's a sense of loyalty. I pledge that, right? But there's also this idea of this oath that they take, this pledge that they take to this country. Now, is this one-sided? No, it's contractual. That means that I am loyal to this country, and this country has certain obligations to me as a citizen. I pay my taxes. I'm responsible. I go to work. I'm a law-abiding citizen. But there is some things. King talked about this blank check, that the government, this check that has bounced, and their obligation, and the government's obligation, and from citizen to citizen, there is an obligation to me, to us all, that you will respect my rights and my privileges, and that no law shall deprive me without due process of the law. That means the president can't get up and tell me to get out of this country. Well, he can do that, but he can't make me. The president should not be influencing decisions on private companies, putting pressure on private companies for his own personal opinion. He can do that. We all should be able to exercise our personal opinion. But when our personal opinion infringes upon the rights of others, it is wrong. It is truly wrong. The flag is a representation of its country, and the citizens comprise the country. How can you separate the citizenry from the flag? The very essence of why it was created was to represent you and me. This NFL ruling. Huh. Okay. Now you know where it started at, Kaepernick. Right. Took a knee, not in protest of the flag, not to disrespect the flag. I don't. Why is it so hard for people to be able to comprehend this? It's not that difficult. It's really not. He took a knee because of what is happening in the city streets, the injustice, the brutality, the murder of black and brown bodies. Why is that so hard to understand? I think it's easy to understand. And why does this aggravate people so much? Well, I think it aggravates people because they don't care about black and brown people their blood being spilled in the streets. They don't care. This strategy of diverting, right, of bringing up something else to supplant the cause never works. You're not going to silence people that are speaking out against this plague upon black and brown folks, mainly black males. You're not going to silence people. So we go around and around and around and around. Folks, it's not going away. NFL comes out, says this, the owners, the pressure from the president says this. We're going to institute a rule here. We're going to solve this problem. Although blacks make up 68% of the NFL. 68%. Wow. Although you are as black employees are concerned and want to make this an issue because it's a societal issue. Okay. Well, some of those black and brown boys that are being murdered in the streets, if the NFL was smart, they might realize that might be part of their product never arriving. 68%. 68%. Let me say that again. 68% of the players in an NFL are black. So they said this, listen, okay, this is how we're going to solve this. If you're on the field, you're going to stand. Right? But you don't got to come out, right? You can stay in a locker room. What happens when that player comes out after the national anthem? They're targets. They're going to be ridiculed. That's called a chilling effect. They understand that. Or if you kneel, we're going to fine you then, right? Jets owner came out, said, I'm going to pay for their fines. That's admirable for him. But to me, it's more disrespectful to be in the locker room to this ceremony, in my opinion, than it is to take a knee. Well, folks, let's talk about here in a minute. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I want to listen to what this guy had to say about the ruling on the NFL. And then we're going to look at what truly disrespecting the flag looks like. Because it ain't happening by NFL players. Folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, By any chance, does she have like just the images?
Yeah. I was looking for it. I could find it. Yeah, she's just got the images that she sent me.
Have you sent them to you too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You saw me over here struggling, huh?
Yeah. I was trying to find it on my.
Hi everyone, this is Roxy Davis, and this is Deborah Burris, and we are the Roxy by Design Show. Our show is designed to bring healing as we share our stories while God redesigns our lives. So take a ride with us. So you can find us at Podbean, iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter.
Now you can set like a goal. I forgot about that. On this
So
site, you can set a goal that you want to hit.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, which stimulates people to buy. So now they
Okay.
feel like, oh, I'm supportive
Yeah.
for them to hit their
Yeah.
goals. So they
Sweet.
could, I think by default, they said like about $300 or some odd dollars
Is a goal.
for this default goal. So it's up to y'all.
They're educated in Oklahoma, and when I listen to podcasts, I'm on that one mic.
I think 500 would be a good start.
Mhm.
I think 5 would be a good start.
500. Mm-hmm. All right, welcome back. Yeah, we're in the studio. Episode 116. On the other side of 115. The flag, the American flag, being disrespectful. You know, man, when you tell somebody you're disrespecting me, those are serious words. When you're growing up, you're like, hey, look, man, you just disrespected me. That cuts deep. Nobody wants to be disrespected. Let's take a listen to what this clown said regarding the NFL's decision.
News when you were in there, the NFL has made a decision on something that means a lot to you and a lot of other Americans. The NFL has voted, the owners have voted unanimously to approve a new national anthem rule that says if you're not going to stand, stay in the locker room. If you go to the field, you have to stand. If you have a protest, your team's going to get fined. This is the first time you're hearing this. What's your reaction, Mr. President?
Well, I think that's good. I don't think people should be staying in locker rooms, but still, I think it's good. You have to stand proudly for the national anthem. You shouldn't be playing. You shouldn't be there. Maybe you shouldn't be in the country. You have to stand proudly for the national anthem. And the NFL owners did the right thing if that's what they've done.
If that is the story, do you feel like you pushed this story forward and you pushed this to a conclusion?
I think the people pushed it forward. This was not me. I brought it out. I think the people pushed it forward. This country is very smart. We have very smart people. And, you know, that's something ideally could have been taken care of when it first started. It would have been a lot easier. But if they did that, they're doing the right thing.
Okay, of course, that was Fox News, by the way. I'll leave that there. The most outrageous thing that this man said, maybe you shouldn't be in the country. Now, notice he's talking about citizens of the United States. Not just citizens of the United States. We would say these are the top elite athletes in our country, right? They've proven themselves to be at the top of their game. They're wealthy, taxpayers, yeah. And he says here that if you don't want to stand for the flag, maybe you should just get the hell out of the country. Now, let me just back up here for a minute and go and say again what the flag symbolizes. Unity, justice, right? Let's go back as a citizen, right? Protection, right? Justice, Pledge of Allegiance, liberty, justice, right? For all, right? But his conclusion, the top dog in our country, his conclusion is maybe you shouldn't be in this country. Maybe. That's a loaded word. People take words like that and they run with them. You can, I think, substitute any action behind that word. That means I harass them more. I make them feel like they don't belong here. I question their citizenship. Because really, that's what he's doing. He's questioning their loyalty to this country. Simply because they are exercising their rights as citizens. Their rights as citizens. Now, let's talk about what disrespecting the flag is about. You ever been to the beach, Richard? Seen that person with those that bikini that looks like the American flag? Okay. What about the beach towel that looks like the American flag? Yeah. What about the guy with the American flag trunks on? Or the American flag headband on? Talk about disrespecting the flag. Well, let's roll this and get an idea.
Stars and stripes, old border, the Star Stars and stripes, nickname over our American flag, the Star Spangled Banner. Here are some facts about our nation's most recognized symbol.
Only we're hearing that.
Okay.
The flag, the most recognized flag of the United States. The Betsy Ross flag, designed with 13 stars and 13 stripes, that represents the 13 colonies that declared independence from Great Britain in 1776. While legend says Betsy Ross designed and sewed this flag, most historians think the designer was Francis Hopkinson, a delegate from New Jersey who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. The flag became official on May 14, 1777. This day is now celebrated annually as Flag Day. By the way, the only president to serve under this original flag was George Washington. The current flag is the 27th version since the country was born. It was last updated in 1959 when Hawaii became the 50th star. According to the U.S. Flag Code, the flag represents a living country and is itself considered a living thing. The U.S. flag is often displayed incorrectly, so here are some rules to help you out. The flag is typically flown from sunrise to sundown. The flag should be allowed to float freely, never bound from the corners. People often make this mistake. When displayed vertically, this way is wrong. The union is always at the top left to the viewer. Oh yeah, and you should never do the following. Fly a torn and tattered flag. Let it touch the ground or water. Use it as clothing, bedding, or draping. Place anything on the flag,
Right.
letters, logos, or design.
I'm gonna take another break. I forgot to put one in here.
Okay.
Make that flag proud, but do it right.
Okay, there's some do's and don'ts with the flag. Okay, let me say something here. When you talk about, again, getting back to respect, the definition of kneeling: be in or assume a position in which the body is supported by a knee or the knees, as when praying or showing submission. And nowhere in the act of kneeling is there disrespect. It's not an act of disrespect. It's an act of reverence. Now, clearly, I know everyone has not been to church, but clearly, when you're taught to get before your creator, you're taught to do what? Get on your knees. Where in the world do you even derive disrespect when someone kneels before something? That's how foolish it is. Because it's not really about disrespect. It's about the people that are doing it. It's about the black and the brown bodies and their white brothers and sisters who choose to kneel with them. It's about the hatred toward a class of people simply because of the skin that they are draped in. It's not about the flag at all. You who offended, you probably didn't even serve in the military. Military people have come out on behalf of them as this being their right to take a knee. You've heard military people, I was in the military, United States Navy, 13 years. You've heard military veterans come out and say, this is the reason why I served my country, so that you could have the right to express yourself freely. But then there are others, like the man in the clown suit. Yeah, on Pennsylvania Avenue. Well, he's not really there. He's in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. That says maybe you shouldn't be in this country. To me, that's not even healthy reasoning. If you have nothing better to say than that, if you can't articulate yourself better than that, then you shouldn't have no position of authority. So a person in a company has some concern, wants to bring attention to something, and you walk into the boss, you say, this is my concern. Well, maybe you shouldn't be here. Oh, that's great leadership. That's someone I want to follow. How about why are they kneeling? Is that question ever asked? What has compelled them, knowing these moments, to go down on one knee? We're going to take a break here in just a minute, but the list is long. The abuses are great. I can tell you, the faces, if we built monuments to remember those brutalized, killed, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Walter Scott, the list goes on and on and on and on, folks. Why are they kneeling? Let's take a break and come back and talk about real reverence. We'll be right back.
This is DT of the OneMicOneVoice podcast. I want to let you guys know you can go to iTunes and search us at OneMicOneVoice, and be sure to rate and review our episodes. Let us know about any feedback that you have, or what you enjoyed about the episode. Also, you can go over to Stitcher, where you can get the latest and freshest episodes of our podcast. Stream directly to your smartphone or iPad. No downloading or syncing. Real simple. Also, we just like to take the time to thank you for your time, for your energy, for spending time with us as we discuss the historical records of our time.
Chad Reynolds, poet and publisher. Listen to One Mic, One Voice like I do. You won't regret it.
Welcome back. Hey, it is Sunday morning. And so some of you are visiting relatives and you don't have the opportunity to get up in the church house today. So I'm going to give you a little something. Yeah. He said you should stand proudly. I don't even know what that means. Stand with your chest stuck out, your head up. How do you measure that? You know, stand proudly. I guess if you don't have good posture, maybe you're not standing proudly. But let's talk about true reverence, how close the average person is vice being on one knee. Now, you just stay with me for a minute. Prostration, right? Simply means is that you lay on your face. You prostrate yourself. Remember I said it's Sunday, so I'm gonna go to the text for a minute, right? Because to show true reverence to something is to prostrate oneself, right? The book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 6. Now we don't normally, not a religious show, but it would prove my point. Then Moses and Aaron came in from the presence of the assembly to the doorway of the tent of the meeting and fell on their faces. Then the glory of the Lord appeared on them. What did they do? They prostrated themselves in reverence. Let's go to Luke 5:12. While he was in one of the cities, behold, meaning Jesus, there was a man covered with leprosy. And when he saw Jesus, he fell on his face and implored him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. He showed reverence. Standing is almost a position of equality, not of reverence, not of submission. In the reality of, if you want to be technical about respect and reverence, let me just back up here for a minute. When we talk about respecting something, that's honoring something. That's placing something in high esteem. One might even say that you place it above yourself. So if we want to be technical about showing respect, one could say that being on one knee is more respectful than standing up. Well, we got the flag code that says you should stand, right? Well, I think this flag code would have been pretty egregious if it had told everyone you needed to kneel. Is there degrees of respect for something? Have you ever been told, I respect you more than anyone? Yeah, there's degrees. And I would say that if we're being technical about this, that the person that stands is closer to disrespect than the person that kneels. If true reverence is prostrating yourself. You can do the diagram. Full frontal on the floor, kneeling on one knee, or standing straight up. this clown, another clown, Representative Peter King, put on Twitter today. He, in response to the Jets owner saying that he was going to pay the fines, he says this: disrespectful that at New York Jets owner will pay fines for players who kneel. Okay, remember our definition for kneeling. For the national anthem, encouraging a movement premised on lies versus the police. A movement based on lies versus the police. Meaning that we're all lying and the police are absolutely telling the truth. Although we have video, although Walter Scott got shot in the back 7 times on video, Tamir Rice, we saw him pull up shooting right away. Freddie Gray, although we saw him being dragged and thrown into the paddy wagon, although we have all that video, Walter Castile being Philando Castile being shot in Minneapolis on video, we see all of that, but he says a movement based upon lies. Would he support all players' protests? That's Peter King's question. He goes on. Would he pay fines for players giving Nazi salutes? So, okay, let me finish. Or spew racism? It is time to say goodbye to the Jets. This man is more outraged at the very fact that this owner would pay for their fines than what they are kneeling for. The slaughtering of black and brown bodies. He's more outraged at that than the reason that brings them to their knee. He equates what they're doing to Nazi salutes. See, this is the problem. But this representative here, okay, this elected official here, a protector of the Constitution, a protector of the Bill of Rights, a protector of citizens, says what? It's a bunch of lies. Your freedom of speech, your expression, you shouldn't have it because it's like Nazi saluting. Yet he stands under this flag and says, yes, we're united. He stands under this flag. Matter of fact, he made a pledge to this flag. Hand on the Bible. Yet, everything this flag symbolizes contradicts him. Now, let's talk about truly who disrespects the flag. Folks, we wind it down. Let's talk about truly who disrespects the flag. Have you ever watched this ceremony right before the NFL game starts when they sing the national anthem? You know, they make this a big deal. Man, this is a patriotic moment. I mean, if you're an American and you're sitting in this moment and you don't feel anything, something might be wrong with you. I mean, the music's there, the military comes out, the flags come out, and the people are just, man, they're screaming, they're yelling, they're cheering. It's right before the game. Players are lined up. the singer comes out. Man, can they sing that national anthem? Man, we've heard it. Man, I've heard the gospel version of it one time. I'm like, man, the opera version, and you know, boy, I tell you, it's something else. This is an event. Patriotism at its highest degree. And then all of a sudden, you see this flag making its way onto the field. Not the one the soldiers holding, because he's got it propped up. But this huge flag. I mean, this thing is 30, 40 yards. It's huge. They come walking out with this flag. I mean, it must be about, man, 100 people. They have it on all sides and it's laying horizontal, and they bring it to the middle of the field, and it's situated, positioned perfectly right above the logo. But there's one problem. I look and I see off to my left, there's some players kneeling. Wow. But then I turn and I look back at the flag, and I'm reminded of the U.S. flag code. The flag should never be carried flat or horizontal, but always aloft and free. That's Congress. You know who is most disrespectful of the flag? It's the NFL. It's the people that sanction this disrespect. The flag should never be pulled at the ends as a picture displays. It should never be horizontal. That's according to the U.S. flag code. It should be aloft and free. Not my words. It's the flag code. So, this idea of being disrespectful to the flag is a farce. Folks, this is about who deserves to express themselves in this country and who doesn't. And at the base of that, who is a citizen afforded the rights and privilege by law. That's the issue. Those of you who protest and say that is so disrespectful, you have no problem with the flag being horizontal. Do I hear you? Where's the outrage? I encourage you, those of you who have such an issue, go to the U.S. flag code. And then I want you to tell me where in the flag code does it authorize that? It does not. Because again, it's not about the flag. It's about the bigotry, the racism, the discrimination, the silencing of the athlete's vote. When I hear people say this, I don't watch so they can protest. I watch so they can play football. Shut up and play football. So, at your job, you cease to be a citizen. You cease to have the rights guaranteed to you by the Constitution. No, you do not. And let me say this, because we're going to close here. You don't determine my citizenship. You don't determine whether I have the right to speak or not. You have no authority to prevent me from my own political and social expression. What you have the right to do is to agree or disagree. You have a right to turn off your television. You have a right to not watch the NFL, not to buy any memorabilia. You have all the rights to do. You have the rights to say how much you don't like it. But you do not have the right to suppress it. And if you really cared about the American flag and what it represents, you would ask the question, why are they kneeling? Because history will speak of us. Somewhere in the distant future, a scribe will reach down deep into the archives of our time, and what will she find? Will she discover that we overcame our differences? Will she find that out of many, we became one? Or will she find that we solved nothing and remain a divided peoples? Yes, history will speak of us.
Just show my brother. Powerful. Powerful. Like always.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, if you can send me the actual pictures you got,
I will do that.
then
man.
I can go ahead and
Hook that up, man.
let me show you kind of just roughly what they be talking about. Put it on this monitor right here. Let me pull this out. Get over there. Let me just stop the broadcast. I can show you real quick.
Today's broadcast is being brought to you by Blacken Studios. To learn more about Blacken Studios, please visit them at blackenstudios.com or visit them on their Facebook page, Blacken Studios. Today's broadcast is also being brought to you by Perry Publishing and Broadcasting. To learn more about Perry Publishing and Broadcasting, please visit their website at perrypublishingandbroadcasting.net. The opinions